Nityanandam. With all auspicious blessings and grace of my Guru, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Sri Nityananda Paramashivam, I welcome you to this web series on Powerful Hindu Feminism. During the Vedic period, during the Vedic civilization, India as a country was considered one of the richest, most prosperous, most auspicious country, not only for its wealth, but for the lifestyle, the way the people lived. It was this rich lifestyle, rich culture, rich quality of life that attracted many travelers from across the world, many visitors from across the world, and finally, many invaders from across the oceans. And over these decades, we have forgotten that we had a rich culture. We have forgotten we had one of the most thriving civilization, one of the best spiritual ecosystems in the world. Because if we had not forgotten, we would have wondered, we would have stopped, we would have paused and analyzed, what is it that during the Vedic civilization that made our country so rich, prosperous and thriving? What is it now that we are all struggling with? For me, this parallel lies in the way the feminine identity, the female gender, is struggling through its metamorphosis at this moment. Today, women struggle with their identity. Women have to fight for better pay. Women have to fight for better respect. Women have to fight. Or rather, I would not say fight. Women at every step, at every stage, seem to have to prove themselves as good as man, equal as man, or better than man. So there are so many conflicts, anger, frustration inside her. When I was a child, I remember many of my relatives and friends, family friends would tell my parents, "Oh, you have only 3 daughters. Oh God, you should have a son." Like, when you're a child, all these seem so inane and insipid and rather silly. So I never actually understood that how the society is able to so cleverly and so sadistically differentiate the genders from the childhood. It's as I grew older, I understood the impact of such words have on the psychology and the upbringing and my inner space, my self-confidence, my outer image, my inner image. All these are shattered and bruised by such attitudes. 80 to 90% of society would actually sympathize with my parents because we were just 3 sisters. They're like, "Oh, you should have a son who will take care of you. When you grow older, who will take care of you? Your daughters would get married and go away. You'll be all alone. You should have a son so he can get married. And his wife will take care of you." I'm like, this is rather silly. But of course, you're young, you don't fight out these things. But as you grow older, you start fighting and trying to establish what they say is not true. In fact, many of my friends and colleagues had gender conflict inside them. Many of my friends would say, "Oh, I wish I was born a boy or a male. Life would be so much easier. Life would be so cool. We would not have so many restrictions. I would get to do what I want to do." Somewhere we Hindus have started to feel and think and actually understand that women or the feminine gender are second-class citizens. And to make things worse, we are made to believe that this is how our scriptures tell us. We are second-class citizens as per the society today, because our sacred scriptures tell that women are second-class citizens. But that defies a lot of commonsensical applications if we see it today. Then how come in the Vedic period, or even now, we have goddesses who are revered, venerated, and worshipped by men? How come during the Vedic civilization, women were quite powerful? Women had a choice in marriage. Women had a choice to live the life they want to live. Women had say in many matters. Many socio-political decisions were made by women. These things, or these facts, or these Shastra Pramanas, we will be sharing with you in these upcoming series. But why am I talking about Vedic feminism or the powerful Hindu identity, women identity today? Because it's time you and I revive that. Because it's time for a woman to become stable and chaste in every decision she makes. That is what is powerfulness all about. Not having the freedom to choose, move from one relationship to another. With this kind of a conflict that's going on, today women have become so insecure, so unsure of themselves, that they start questioning every decision they make. And once they start questioning that every decision they make, their answers, their choices, their decisions keep changing every second. Women are fickle is a myth started by a man who hates women. Women were never fickle. Especially the Hindu women were never fickle. We were the most powerful women. Power does not mean always being in politics. Powerfulness means having the ability to influence people to think the way you think, do what you want them to do. And one doesn't need to be in politics. One doesn't need to have wealth to do that. One needs to have a powerful inner space to do it. One needs to have a powerful belief about herself to be able to do it. Why today women go through so much of conflicts? Why are we so depressed? Why do we have so many issues? If you see, if we have to draw a parallel, the world in general is poised in the same way. There are so many conflicts, wars, terror activities, genocide, purging of human beings. The scale of ahimsa, violence and non-violence, is tilted more towards violence. But how does it matter to me as an individual? I have my own struggles. I have my own things to do. How am I going to stop the world being violent? How am I going to stop a war in Kosovo? Or how am I going to stop a genocide happening somewhere in Bangladesh? How can I as an individual do anything? But you as an individual can do so much when you take a decision to transform, to carry the inner space inside of you of complete powerfulness, complete stability and chastity. Chastity means being chaste to the decisions that you take. Every decision being chaste and stable. That is the power of a woman. The moment we start becoming chaste and stable, we can cause a change around us. Oh, you can always say, why can't a man do it? I mean, for me, I really don't care for a man to do it. I would rather do it. Being a woman in today's world, if I'm able to influence change for the better, that is the biggest victory we have. And it's possible. If each of us start thinking like this and start becoming stable, centered, neutral, and anchored and chaste, you will see the seamless transformation from a violent world to a violent free world. Especially for us Hindu women, because our very sacred texts support us, teach us the technique to become a powerful woman. Yes, this is in contrast to what we've been hearing. Our sacred texts do not propagate, do not propagandize that women are second-class citizens. In fact, the sacred texts, whether the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Agamas, all of them authoritatively state, authoritatively teach women as equal to man. In fact, the Vaidika Dharma does not have any gender parity. You'll be surprised to know. Unlike today's world, the Vedic civilization, the Vedic times, we did not have any gender parity. One important aspect of that, all wealthy, one of the most influential countries, one of the most influential civilizations the Vedic civilization had, was that women were respected, venerated, and treated as equal. And even beyond equal, I would say, because she was considered to be the most auspicious Lakshmi. Lakshmi being the divine goddess who showers people with wealth. In fact, there was a very popular saying in Andhra Pradesh, a state in India, where people rejoice the birth of a girl child, saying, "Oh, my house is blessed by the birth of Lakshmi. Goddess Lakshmi has been born in my house." We just need to bring that back. We just need to revive that by going back into the sacred texts. My Guru, Bhagavan Sri Nityananda Paramashivam, very strongly advocates and believes that the revival of the strong, powerful Hindu women is the only way for the society to become stable, secure, and transform and provide a better quality of life. Welcome to this series. My name is Nityananda Swami. The secrets of Hindu feminism, the secrets of powerful Hindu feminism were all taught to me by my Guru, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Sri Nityananda Paramashivam. Because before I met Swamiji, I had never actually heard anybody say Hinduism or the Hindu identity of women was the most powerful, unlike today. I firmly believe in reviving that powerfulness that is taught to us by our religion, by Hindu or Hinduism, is the one single unique factor that can just spin the world 360 degrees and make it stable and a violent free world. According to Harita Dharma Sutra, the Upanayana, or the sacred thread ceremony, was open to all genders. Yes, it was open to women. In fact, Harita Dharma Sutra recommends that women should be initiated into the sacred thread ceremony, the Upanayana. In the Vedic civilization, women were in two categories. One were known as the Brahmavadinis, and the second category was called Satyavadinis. Brahmavadinis and Satyavadinis. The difference between these two was the Brahmavadinis were women or girls who withdrew from the materialistic world and dedicated their life to sannyas. They had every right to be initiated into the sacred thread ceremony, the Upanayana. Whereas the Satyavadinis were women who lived in the society, took on social responsibilities, be it as an administrator, as a politician, or as a housewife. The Satyavadinis had different set of rules, social rules like we have today. The Brahmavadinis have a different set of social rules, spiritual rules, let me say. Spiritual rules, which are unique only to Hinduism, which many of us are not aware. Thanks to websites like hinduism.stacks.com, such researched Shastric references are brought out to the world, where we women can strongly and smartly say, my identity as a strong Hindu woman is not just mine. It is backed by my sacred text. It is supported by my Vedas and the Upanishads and the Agamas. In fact, we can all develop such powerful Hindu identity just by following these texts. Many of us are surprised to know that, yes, women had every right to be initiated into the sacred thread. During the Vedic civilization, the one other thing that I found was women did not have to fight for their identity. It was a self-supporting structure. The society believed and supported women to develop a powerful inner space, because they understood that a woman who's stable, a woman who's chaste, is the secret of success for every man. That's why even today we hear, behind every successful man, there is a woman. It is not just a saying, it's a fact, it's a truth. For example, just say supposing a man who's been working the whole day, he goes through his own conflicts at work, or he may have a happy day at work, and he comes home and he finds a wife who's always nagging, annoyed, angry, or always bickering. Is that going to make him feel happy and fulfilled and more grounded towards success? No, it is not. But if he comes home to a woman who understands his needs without words, who understands his space without any communication, that will give him so much of security and stability to move towards success the way he wants to define it. Today, many of us do not do things, do not achieve things, do not want to take up new responsibilities, new challenges, because we feel we don't have support, we don't have anybody to help us. But that is because of the present social fabric, where everybody is afraid of the other person. It's such a sad state that all of us are afraid to take any kind of feedback from the other person, thinking we're criticizing them. Feeling that, oh, they have found something wrong with me, I'm not a good person. No, we need not be so sensitive. This sensitivity, this insecurity is because we have not developed the powerful inner space, the powerful identity that we need to develop. As a women, as we develop our powerful inner identity, the society, the men, have to support this change. I will not say support this change, they have to participate in this change, understanding this change is good for their success. However they evaluate success, whether it's a materialistic success or however they evaluate it, or relationship success, it can happen only when the women become stable and chaste and develops a powerful inner space. Power does not mean being in politics. Power does not mean bullying people. Power does not mean being a boss of a 500 crore company. Power means having the ability to influence people, having the ability to make people change for the better. That is what is powerfulness. That is the definition of power. And you need not be a celebrity to do it. You just need to have a powerful inner space to do it. And when men participate actively and constantly support women in finding that powerful space, you will see the insecurity that the male gender undergoes also changes. Because as you help a woman find her powerful inner space, you will find your powerful inner space. When both genders, all of us find our powerful inner space, insecurity, jealousy, all will just dissolve. They will see so insipid in front of us. When this basic insecurity in relationship disappears, it's just going to be simple, joyful life. In today's webinar, in today's this video, I will share with you one simple technique that will help you come to your neutral space, will help you come to your anchor whenever there's a conflict or instability in relationships between the opposite genders. For example, if you have a conflict with your wife or you have a conflict with your husband and there is an insecurity, instead of flaring up and leading to a war of words which makes things even more difficult and irrevocable, stop the argument right now. Stop the fight right now. Stop feeling insecure, powerless right now. And sit down and do this technique. After you do this technique, handle the same situation, because now you'll be handling it, dealing the situation from a space of powerfulness, completion. And when you deal anything from the space of completion, it will never break any relationship. It will never lead to any bitterness. It will never lead to any conflict, because your entire intention towards that will be, how do I hold that person in my life? How do I make them feel good about themselves the way I feel good about myself now? Completion is nothing but feeling good about yourself and holding yourself constantly to your higher values. Never falling down, never letting things or situations fall down, make you step back from your highest values in life. Highest values, do not mean your goals. I mean, as a human being, your highest values. That is the secret of completion, because it just always reminds you of your highest, best self. And when you are reminded of your highest, best self, you simply fall in love with yourself. And when you fall in love with yourself, you will love others and want them to fall in love with themselves. Now just sit back and enjoy this technique, and do this technique with the intention of coming out of conflicts. Do this technique with the intention of bettering your relationship with the opposite gender. Do this technique with the intention of developing a powerful inner space. While you're doing this technique, remember to keep focus on your life. Be focused, be strong, be determined to develop a powerful inner space. Be resilient. Life is all about winning. Life is all about joy. Winning is joyful when you define it the way you want. Winning becomes stressful if you define that through some other's perception. But unless you define life the way you want to live from the space of completion, anything else will lead you only to conflict. So remembering that, sit and do this technique just with focus of your highest self. Focus on what you want in life, not what others want you to be. Go to the depth of your being. Analyze what you actually want to be. Albert Einstein very famously said on his deathbed that if he had a choice, if he could turn his clock back, he would have just been a simple plumber and not a scientist. Don't wait for the deathbed for you to make these decisions. You can make the life-changing decisions now. With that focus, be focused. Your life is your decision. What you do should make you feel completely fulfilled and joyful. Then you will excel in it. To get to that point, you just need to be stable. To be that stable, you need to develop powerful inner image. As a woman, developing the powerful inner image will be such an impact not only for you, but people around you. Imagine how your boss or your friends would react if they know that they cannot make you cry, they cannot make you angry, they cannot make you change your mind, they cannot push you, they cannot bully you, they cannot make you feel inferior. Yes, that is what the powerful inner image can do. As Eleanor Roosevelt famously said, nobody can make you feel inferior without your permission. Now, you can actually make what Eleanor Roosevelt said as a reality in your life. When you do not allow others, but how do you not allow others to make you feel inferior? That is possible only if you have a powerful inner space. And this series of Powerful Hindu Feminism is all what it's going to be about. How we women can develop strong, authentic, powerful inner images. This powerful inner image, which you and I as a woman can learn and live, will provide a better quality of life, not just for you, but for your family and friends and the society around you. And you will be the trigger of change in your society, in your family's life. Don't miss this opportunity of once in a lifetime that can make you self-empowered. Keep watching my web series and follow me on YouTube or Facebook or my Twitter handle. We can walk this journey together. We can make this change happen together. So with that focus in your life, with that focus in your mind, watch this technique, the link of which I'll be sharing below. Watch this technique and do this technique holding the intention of your life passionately and with depth in your heart. And you will see the change that you will be triggering around people around you.
Swamiji, one question I wanted to ask you from a long time is that the difference between what artists or very creative people feel from others. There's always a sort of a distance which sometimes grows very, very big. And it comes to a point where there is isolation and you feel totally alone. Why does that happen?
Nityanandeshwara Sadashiva Samarambam Nityanandeshwari Adishakti Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. I welcome all of you. Today's guests, Meena Das Narayan and Sri Ned Narayan. You put a very important thought current. The inner space of the artists. Why they feel distanced, alone. We need to understand the word art and word kala. Art, the way the word develops its roots and it expands into relating with others. Artificial, artistic, various words develop. But the concept of the art is all about relating with others. In Hindu tradition, concept of kala is all about giving life to you. The word kala precisely is defined in Agama, nada, nada kala, bindu, bindu kala. In the definition, Sadashiva says, kala means infusing your prana into anything is called kala. If artists understand this context, you are giving life to anything. If you give life to a stone, it is called sculpture. If you give life to a paper, it is called painting. If you give life to your own body movements, it is dance. If you give life to a cloth, it is embroidery. Anything in which you breathe your prana, if you give life to your verbalization, it is called oration. Anything you infuse prana, that becomes kala. If our orientation, the fundamental cognition, moves from the idea of art to kala, we will not feel aloneness, we will not feel the loneliness. We know anything, we only give life. Whenever we give life, we are Shiva. Whenever we ask for life, we are Shava. All the ideas of art from the modern society is all about award, reward, recognition, respect, reverence, appreciation, criticism. If our being constantly functions with the cognition of what others are going to feel, we ourselves feel it is too much load, the other's opinion and others' ideas are too much load, better let us withdraw. That withdrawal becomes so deep, it becomes loneliness. Fundamental cognition of an artist should be about kala. I am infusing life to it. Whether it's a script or a thought current or a word or a canvas or a stone, in anything I breathe life, it becomes kala. To put it precisely, we need to be more centered on the cognition than the appreciation or the results of the product. You see, I am not trying to tell in the how they interpret the Gita, karmanyevadhikaraste mabaleshu kadachana, like a moral, oh, do your duty, don't expect results. No. Fundamentally, I differ with this Vedantic interpretation of the do your duty, don't expect your results. When they interpret this Bhagavad Gita, I'll tell you one incident happened in my life. Then maybe I'll be able to give precisely what I am feeling, the thought current. My Guru, at the age of 12, after I became enlightened, the exact rock on which I became enlightened, nearby, she acquired some land and she built a building. And I was only 14 when she completed the building. That was the first ashram built for me. And before she left the body, she wrote a will that I should be her disciple and taking care of whatever she taught me, teaching it to the world. And then she wanted to make a legal will of our house and that ashram, which was actually, both of them are very near, just a few 100 meters. And she wanted to make a legal will of handing over both the properties to me. She called me and said, I am writing this house and that ashram in your name. You will be shocked. My first response, oh, no. I cannot run. Electricity bill, who will pay? That you are supposed to pay for water in the villages to the corporation. Who will pay the water bill and who will pay the electricity bill? I cannot maintain. Can you imagine I told this? At the age of So she started laughing. Then she made a statement that you will repent for this refusal. You are not listening to me, but I cannot force you. She said, you are going to build thousands of ashrams, but this will be very important property for history. Of course, neither I was ready to understand what she was trying to tell. I'll tell you exactly my mental thought current, which I immediately blurted out to her. I said, 1,000 ashram. Even this one ashram, I think I can't maintain. To maintain this one ashram, 1 month I have to work. 1,000 ashram means to build, I'll have to work at least 200, 300 years, and only then 1,000 ashram will happen. And then to maintain that, I will have to work another 200 years. What are you talking? What are you? So when I started arguing, she started laughing. Then she made a statement. Now I am telling you, do not expect the result, do your work. Understand? Actually, when we expect the result, our goal, and reverse calculate the amount of work we need to do for the goal, we become tired of working. We, oh God, exactly what I did to my guru. The wrong argument. I was trying to convince her, 1,000 ashram means thousands of crore, then 300-400 years I have to work, only then that kind of money will come, only then that kind of ashrams will come, then thousands of years, hundreds of years I have to work to maintain. How am I going to do? See, by grasping the goal and reverse calculating, I made myself tired and never started working. But one good quality I had is, I will obey my gurus. Just, there is no second thought current, like Agori. Agoris have the tradition. Just do. No question of second thought current. That is one of the very powerful initiation in Agori Sampradaya, the guru-disciple relationship. And I had a great commitment to my guru when she said, drop the expectations and start working. Then I understood. Much later, when the Sangha started happening, only it clicked with me. Don't expect the results, do your duty is not told to exploit us or to pacify us. Just do your work and don't take the salary or don't take the money. No, it was not from that context. If you think of the result and reverse calculate the work you need to do, you will feel you need to do too much and you will be tired and bored and you will never start. Now, what she said literally is happening. Literally happening. Surely we are in, I don't think we have 1,000 ashram, but surely it is 3-digit. It is not in 2-digit, it is in 3-digit. And maybe in next few years only it will be in 4-digit. The way we are growing and the way we are expanding. I don't think I need to see 45 to make it into 4 digit. What she was telling. I don't even need to get into 45 to make it into 4 digit. One thing I understood in this whole drama, at that time, when she was talking to me and instructing me, my idea was if I work for 1 month, this is what I am going to make, whether income or donation or anything. If maximum I may make 10,000 rupee. So if it is has to be 1,000 ashram, what is needed? And 1,000 ashram, if that much is needed, every month 10,000 rupee, when it is going to reach. So my very logic was faltu, wrong. She said, drop this, just decide to take the responsibility. When I decided to take the responsibility, I understood when the conscious shift happens in us, our earlier calculation of the monthly revenue, all those logic does not apply. Many times, our mathematics does not apply is not bad news, it is a good news. Many times it is a good news. If we never start, only then it is a bad news. If we never start, only then it is a bad news. So even now, when I am saying an artist should not be bothered about the reward, award, and he should start getting centered more into the cognition, I am not life denying. Then we may think, oh, for an artist, the honor and the praise and the name that is the only reason why he will be inspired to work. How can we deny that? No. If we are thinking and planning about that, we will always reverse calculate what we need to do and get tired and bored, will not feel we will be able to do or we can do. It will be like a self-implosion. So if we don't bother and construct the inside with this cognition, what we really thought cannot be achieved will become reality. Just like when I was arguing with my guru, I tell you, really I tell you, with all my integrity, if I am telling my guru I cannot do, that is what was my cognition at that time. That was my cognition. Many times, we are underestimating the power of cognitive shift. Fortunately, my guru pushed me. I was able to listen to her and dropped that idea of reverse calculation. And the cognitive shift of let me do one at a time. Surely now, we are in 3 digit. And it is not even looking like a work now. I just need to come out and sit outside my room and breathe, that's all. It is not even like a work now. I need to breathe outside my room, that's all I need to do. And it is happening. See, when Bhagavad Gita says, Karmanye Vadhikaraste Mabaleshu Katachanaha, or when I am telling artist should be more focused on our own understanding of I breathe life into it. Nothing else matters. When I say this, when Bhagavad Gita says this, I am not saying withdraw from life. Bhagavad Gita is not trying to tell back out from the life. All I am trying to tell, your reverse calculation about your goal and the activities you need to do is not right. With very minimal activity, by the shifted cognition, the results will be huge. So the number of actions, you see, the number of actions I planned, I am supposed to do, and become tired and bored in front of my Guru, in that number of actions, I have not performed even 1/10. Forget about 1/10, not even 1/100th. If I planned, I am supposed to do this much for 1,000 ashram, I have not done even 1/100th of it. But that cognitive shift, I allowed that cognitive shift to happen, that responsibility to flower. I can see my whole reverse calculation is child play. It is like a child sitting and planning. Oh, this whole month I saved in my piggy bank. I got 200 paise, 2 rupee. To build this house, I need 2 lakh. So 1 lakh month, I need to have my piggy bank and save, which is not reality. In existence, it is not reality. So we need to move from being an artist to kalakara. Kala is you giving life to it. If you give life to sound, you become a musician. If you give life to visualization, you become a director. If you give life to your body language, you are a dancer. If you give life to your words, you become poet. If you give life to the canvas, you become painter. If you give life to the stone, you become sculptor. You give life. That is why all the 64 hearts of Hindu tradition, Aya Kalegal 64, all the 64 arts are dependent on the ability of you able to give prana to it. Nowhere it can be given by relative reality, but in Kala it is not. In Kala, our ability to breathe life to it. And I tell you, ultimately, never ever great things achieved or great fulfillment experienced in relative existence based actions. These relative existence based actions are draining activities. It drains you, makes you powerless. Even when you get praise, name and fame, award, reward, the relative existence itself is tiring. More existential reality based person is cheerful, powerful, enjoying, breathing life into everything it touches or does. So I feel Kala is the solution for the problems of the art.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Swamiji, this cycle of life and death, process of evolution, like plant to animal, animal to human beings, then from human beings, ultimately the realization. If one asks, why can't this God keep quiet and save us from this misery? What should we say?
See, fundamentally, perception of the misery is our individual choice. Even the moment you think God exists, if you operate from the thought current God exists, you cannot perceive misery. If you operate from the thought current of perceiving misery, those moments you are very clear God does not exist. See, God is the intelligence on which everything is established. If you believe it is an intelligence operation, then where is the place for misery? I am giving you a very simple Nayayika. In Vedic tradition, we have a tradition called Nayayika, just using the logic achieving liberation. I am giving you very simple logic. You presented a thought current, this birth of animal moving to human, then higher, then ultimately liberation. The moment you utter this thought current itself, don't you see it is just intense expansion? That is one. Second, we are asking, why can't God keep quiet and release us from this misery? See, when there is an idea that God is responsible for everything, then we should look at everything with that one thought current that He is responsible. If we think there is a misery for which He is responsible, then we should know everything, whether good, bad, right, wrong, concepts of right, wrong, concepts of good and bad, for everything He is responsible. Ultimately, if we say for everything He is responsible, then we should not be worried, because even the suffering He is only going through the suffering. I cannot enjoy something for which He is responsible. Or we should come to this thought current, whatever I am going through, for that I am responsible, not He. Somewhere we need to stick to one logic. What we do, we confuse with multiple logic. It's like we try to measure the water by kilogram and weigh the cloth by the kilogram. We are changing the units. See, liquid is always measured by liter. Mass is always weighed by kilogram. Distance is always by the kilometer. Different units. We should not mix the units. This question fundamentally asks two things of faulty generalization and mixing of a different logic, and the question is arrived. When we say animal, human, higher, do you feel we are responsible for this? What do you think? You tell me. No. So, somebody, it means God is responsible. When He is responsible for this big happening, in that happening, good, bad, right, wrong, grief, tiredness or boredom or sickness or depression or pain or the grief, for any of that, how can we be responsible? If you say, no, I am perceiving the pain, then we need to know then which part is my responsibility. Somewhere then for everything He is responsible is not yet become true for me. Whether it is true or not, I don't want to question, because many of the Apta Pramana and Shastra Pramana says it is true. I will give the benefit of doubt, but let me find out how much I am responsible in this whole scene. So if I am responsible for perceiving certain grief, pain, suffering, tiredness, ignorance, then that part I must be the creator. If I say He is creator, then He is responsible for everything. I cannot enjoy anything. He is only enjoying. If I am enjoying suffering, if I am perceiving suffering, maybe for that zone I am the creator. Even if we come to the conclusion, only who creates enjoys. Only if we come to even that simple logic, then we know whatever we perceive is our creation, not His creation. Whatever He created, He is perceiving. Whether it is good or bad, let us ask Him. Somewhere we need to be logically handling both. If you think grief, pain, you are perceiving it still, then we created it, we manifested it. And if you think, no, 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 all this life, everything is only his work, he is only doing, then for this also he is responsible. It is like a logic of the ultimate reality and logic of the relative existence. Our relative existence's logic does not immediately correlate with the ultimate truth's logic. But connecting this logic into that logic and tuning our life is what I call sadhana. Sadhana is the relative logic with which we function gets tuned to the absolute logic, and from morning till night you do not have any thought knot, where the thoughts come and you get into a kind of a confusion or misunderstanding or ignorance or a blind spot and you are lost. And again, after 10 days, you find a solution for that problem, and you forget again after a month, you find a same problem. This is what I call thought knot. Not having any of the thought knot and our internal logic which perceives the world and the existential logic both being in tune is what I call completion. Working towards that is sadhana. Fundamentally, I feel our ability to trust the higher self is much more than even our ability to trust ourselves. Actually, at some times when we feel everything is blocked over, now nothing can be done, as per my logic goes, destruction is only seen in the front, that is inevitable, but destruction does not happen. During those moments, we start learning the logic of the cosmos much more than the logic of the individual's calculation to and fro. If you remember some of those moments, I've always seen, whenever I remember those moments and I see with that fresh eye, I see the problem in the front is not there. Problem in the front is always the blind spot. One, putting different logics and raising the question and keeping that as a blind spot without analyzing it. Second, our ability to handle life is much more than we ourselves can believe. This too is what I call can be the ultimate solution for every blind spot we face in our life. We need to know only one thing: do not lower your speed, do not lower your spirit, do not withdraw because of any of your mental, psychological problems. Dangers are less than 1%, fears are 99.99%. The percentage of danger-fear proportion is 99.9999 and less than 0.0001. Fears too much gets consolidated into your thinking system, and that itself creates a blind spot between one logic and another logic. If you just sit and write the same question, all these janmas happening, ultimately enlightenment. Why not God keep quiet and free us from all the suffering? If you see the first thought current, when you believe and think through, there is no suffering. If you see the second thought current, when there is a suffering, there is no God. When there is a concept of suffering and perceptions of misery, already God has been denied, and his role has been denied, his existence has been denied, he is irrelevant and redundant. When you look at the first logic, where he is important and he is alive, he is kicking around, he is doing things, he is still operating, he is still available, he is still responsible, then there is no suffering. Relative existence logic cannot be applied to the logic of the cosmos.
Thank you for watching. And don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video, because this one action that you do can and will transform many lives. Thank you for watching. Nityanandam.